If you are looking to stream a quarterback, tight end, or defense and special teams for Week 11 in fantasy football, here are some options rostered in under 50% of ESPN leagues. Through 10 weeks of fantasy football, Marcus Mariota is a top 12 quarterback. He's averaging 16.16 points per game with 5 weeks above that. He gets a safer floor due to his rushing upside. He only averages 23.1 passing attempts per game, but he's top 10 in deep ball attempts, air yards, and yards per attempt. He plays Chicago. Jimmy G plays the Cardinals that give up the 6th most fantasy points per game to quarterbacks. He might not win you your matchup, but he's averaging right around 16 fantasy points per game. He gets a boost because his system of Debo, Ayuk, Kittle, and Christian McCaffrey provide yards after the catch. Risky play with Zach Wilson versus the Patriots, but he just played them in Week 8. He had 16.4 fantasy points in that game. He threw for 355 yards and 2 touchdowns. Little confidence in their second matchup. For tight ends, Greg Dulcich had a down week last week, but week 6 through 8, he's had around 11, 12-ish fantasy points. Week 8, we saw receiving yard upside with 87. He had heavy targets in week 7 with 9. The Raiders give up the 5th most points per game to tight ends. Another Jets player in this Patriots rematch, Tyler Conklin's targets kind of fluctuate, but when he played the Patriots in week 8, he caught 6 of 10 targets for 2 touchdowns and 25.9 fantasy points. The Patriots give up the 6th most points per game to tight ends. Juwan Johnson has been the overall tight end 3 from week 7 through 10, averaging 12.8 fantasy points per game. Touchdowns have been a big part of this. He has 4 across his last 4 games. The Rams are a really tough matchup, but he's been a good streamer. Foster Moreau has a good bump in his role due to Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow being on the IR. Might be chasing a touchdown. He is a red zone threat, but he could be a streamer just due to the potential of targets he can have in this game. He's on the field 96+% of the time. I want to mention Trey McBride, maybe somebody you just stashed, but he steps in for Zach Ertz, who had a season-ending injury. He was a second-round draft pick, and he was 13th overall in the nation last year for receptions across all positions. The Commanders are coming off of a hot game against the Eagles. They had 2 forced fumbles, a defensive touchdown, interception, and a sack in that game. They face a Houston offense generating the 5th least points per game. The Giants get Detroit. They have the league's highest blitz rate, and only 6 teams have more sacks on the year than them.